Howdy y'all, this is Texas Gaming Industries here, and welcome back to another episode of my Let's Play of Railway Empire 2. And I can't believe I did another voice crack. I really need to start focusing on making less voice cracks. Anyway, in this episode, geez, I can't speak. In the previous episode, we expanded into the region of Wales and started serving the cities of Holyhead and Swansea, as well as providing some needed traffic of delivering coal to Birmingham to make pottery. And in this episode, we're going to continue on getting through this task of getting 13 cities connected, and this should practically be the last task to take care of. Though I want to get this value up to 30 million coins first, before we take care of that last task. So let's see. Plenty of traffic coming into the cities, obviously. It needs fruits and vegetables. Let's see, I think I might need to set up a fruit and vegetable delivery spot at Oxford to store them. Let's see. Fruits and vegetables. Let's see. I'll need to modify this track a bit to add this. Add a gridiron. And let's see. Yeah. We'll send another train to pick up fruits and deliver them to Oxford. Wait, why is it not going that? Oh, it's connected to the main line heading towards London. No wonder. Let's see, I think I might have to build some sort of junction this way, spanning over this particular section of the main line. And it's not doable unless I delete that and then just add the cursor onto this track and modify the switch a bit. There we go, much better. And also I need to set the directions for these tracks as well. Speaking of which, is there any trains heading on this? No. I haven't even delivered any fruits or vegetables into London. Oh, there's already one train set up to go there. Okay, so we'll set up another train to deliver loads of fruit to Oxford so they can be transferred to other trains, and same for the delivery of vegetables. That way, the fruits and vegetables can be delivered to Bristol or eventually taken down towards the other cities. Let's see. Swansea is growing nicely, but it needs corn. Thankfully, there is a freight service alongside the passenger train serving Plymouth and Swansea. Alright. 29,340,000. Just about 700 more to go. And we got a nice mixture of logs, beer, and sugar to take back. Since Plymouth already has meat.
I'd actually set up this goal to make fun of you. Well, you made it.
Indeed. Now then, let's get on finish up the last of the tasks, which is connecting to these cities down here, Cambridge and Dover. Let's place that station down there and just simply connect it to the main line serving the vegetable farm and the clay pit. And, let's see, I'll have to build a station quite close to here. I'll have to build over this river, and once we connect to this, bada bing, bada boom, we are done.
Success! Our network extends to the Welsh coast. Those who want to travel to Ireland must now use the London and Northwestern connection. I must congratulate you. You've accomplished everything I've asked for, and even more. You've outlived me in this enterprise. Supposedly my personality is no longer in line with our company values. Pah! I will simply move on to bigger and better things.
Ah, hello. It's me again. The board is really happy with your performance. After our parting with Captain Hewish, the position of General Manager is vacant. We would be very happy if you would take over this role in the future.
The success of the London and North Western Railway had permanently changed the face of British railroads. The patchwork of the rail network had been cleaned up, and passengers could now travel from London to Wales and then Scotland on a single ticket. The company had achieved its goal and had become the largest public company in the United Kingdom. But new opponents had also risen from the masses. These competitors were so big that they could not simply be bought up.
And with that, the second chapter of the campaign is complete. Let's have a look at our score. Chief Executive, very nice. Now then, we can get on to the next chapter, but let's head back to the main menu and also look at not scenarios, campaign. Now that we got this one done, it's on to Chapter 3, the Great Plains, with our starting city in Kansas City in the year of 1868. After the end of the Civil War, old dreams thrive again. Businessman Cyrus K trusts you to run his company and conquer the American Midwest with railroads and new settlers. Connect Topeka to Santa Fe and complete the famous Santa Fe route. With a connection to the Southern Pacific, it will also create a transcontinental railway route. So, we're heading back to the United States of the 1860s during the height of the Wild West, and with our character, General Donovan, in charge of our operation. With him, 10% higher revenue in mail from 10% higher revenue earned from both freight and mail transport, 30% lower track construction, but 30% higher cost for building bridges and tunnels. But, considering we're in the Midwest, there's only like one river in this area that we'll have to cross. But other than that, everything should be hunky-dory. With that being said, let's get on to the start of the third mission of the campaign, and helping to build the Santa Fe Railroad.
I intended to realize the Nord Express more with the pen than with the sword. Nevertheless, I had learned from history to be prepared for all eventualities. Rigid national borders have always limited the spatial expansion of European companies and rail networks. But in America, the sky was the limit. As late as 1869, several parties had cooperated to complete the first transcontinental railroad. But soon after, the various individual players began to realize their own mammoth projects. In their dogged race, the companies kept getting in each other's way. But in the Wild West, anything was allowed.
So, you're the railroad virtuoso I've been told so much about. It's a great pleasure to meet you. It really is. My name is Colonel Cyrus K. Holliday, but you can address me simply as Colonel. I believe that God gave us civilization to make the wild lands subject to man. As it says in Genesis, fill the earth and subdue it. And that is what we are here for. It is our manifest destiny. I've been working on my goals in this region for 15 years. The war has held up much that should have been reality a long time ago. For example, look at my magical little city of Topeka. I founded it in the firm belief that this land would become the most lovely and desirable that the sun has ever warmed. But Topeka has stagnated. It must be our first priority to change this.
Well, with that being said from Mr. Holliday himself, we have arrived in the American Midwest, and the town of Topeka is really not much of a town, with only 1,000 residents. As always, we need to have a look at our goals. We need to deliver about 12 loads of logs to Topeka along with 8 loads of corn. transport 250 freight cars, and to advertise the settler bonus in Topeka, which will automatically increase the number of citizens a lot faster than just regular town growth. Now then, let's have a look at our equipment. We got the Inyo, a 440 American type. Might as well paint it up because this will be our primary passenger engine. There's also the Class 121, which we're not going to use because it's European. There's also the Reindeer. This engine actually appears in the 1840s, but considering that we're not going to be using this engine very much, I don't think I'm planning to use this engine. Well, maybe I might use it on local passenger trains. I don't know. We got the G&M American, not needed because it's kind of out of date. The Limet, nope. The Philadelphia, an 060, could be useful for providing local freight service. Oh, I need to change the coloring of the boiler to brown. That will add a little bit of a color to the tender. The Rensselaer, this is a high-stepping express passenger engine. I think this locomotive will be perfectly suitable for handling local passenger trains. The Tyson 10-wheeler, mixed traffic, pretty big and pretty bulky. The 51 Dragon might actually use this engine as well. The Rogers Mogul, which will obviously be used for mainline freight. The Huluda, the Rogers American. Now, actually, with the Rogers American, I don't think we'll probably need to use the Rensselaer for local passenger service. Although, I do want to make the engine look a little bit prettier. Yeah, that will look very nice. We got the Consolidation, a really good freight hauler. We'll probably use that for carrying any heavy materials. The Baldwin 10-wheeler, we'll probably might use this as well for handling agricultural products. And I believe the Inyo will just be used for our express passenger trains. But we have other locomotives that can unlock by the beginning of the next year, or by 1870, including the Brooks Mogul, a Mastodon, a 3-truck Shay, or a type Class C Shay, along with a De Glen, and a Pennsylvania Railroad D12, which I believe this will be used for our express passenger trains later on. This will be used for handling bulk materials with coal and iron ore, logs, mainline freight, and eventually mainline passenger service once, well, the D12 is unlocked. Now then, let's see. We got about 200 innovation points, so we might as well try to see what we can use. Might as well try to reduce the amount of costs for locomotives. And our main task is to get as much of these areas connected as possible. Starting from Kansas City, we'll rotate the station in this direction and lay the track out this way. Making sure that the tracks are nice and straight out of the station so the trains won't have to slow down. Add a gridiron, and then add a supply tower. Then we'll do the same for Topeka, and with the town being so close to a mountainside, I'll have to be very careful on where to place down the track. Let's see. We'll lay the curve at about this angle. That'll not only give us our 4 tracks, but the curve is wide enough for fast trains to enter it at speed. We'll place a gridiron here and place down a supply tower, and we'll just simply connect the 2 cities together. Plus, with General Donovan's ability to reduce track construction costs, we'll be able to build ourselves a pretty sizable network before we start operating any trains. Walk by building. Oh. Get rid of that, place that down, and let's see. Now, there's something kind of interesting. Like, see the cities of Amarillo, Oklahoma City, and Dodge City? Well, they're actually not developed towns. They're settlements. They will not become towns until they get their needed supplies of logs, grain, and meat. This is this is actually the introduction of settlements that you can supply to practically introduce a new town to your railroad's route. Jeez, why can I not speak? These settlements can eventually become towns once all the goods are supplied, allowing you to not only have a new destination for passengers, but also an area to deliver goods, as well as possibly adding a new industry. Jeez, I don't know why I had a tongue twister right there. Anyway, we'll build another station here in Wichita, Kansas, and extend the track out a bit. Place that there. And do this. And we'll need to build some tracks out of Topeka for our trains to connect to Wichita. Let's see, 0%. That'll do. Now, let's see. Later on, I could expand the tracks out this way to connect to the city of North Platte, Nebraska. But of course, I have to add and expand the railroad first, and also make money before I try something that ambitious. And also, I need to be careful of not laying tracks too close to these Indian reservations, otherwise I'll have to pay them in order for them to move out of the way. I might as well just leave them alone and just build tracks around them. Alright. We got Wichita connected to our network. And there's also a grain farm that we can also access. Might as well. But I didn't mean to skip that song. I was trying to press O on my keyboard and I pressed P. Now, there's surprising a weapons depot. Huh. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Anyway, so we got a logging camp there, a grain farm, a cattle ranch, corn farm. So we could supply Kansas City with supply wool or cotton to make into textiles at Kansas City and bring them to Topeka, and also bring in grain to make into beer to take back to Wichita and Kansas City. But we'll also set up a route to get meat, a direct connection to Kansas City. And also logs, too. I probably might set up a warehouse here in Kansas City for the transfer of logs. Or I might just well build a crossing. We'll see. For now, we'll just extend the track a bit out in order to get the tracks lined up to connect with the logging camp. Let's curve the track in and connect to this part of the main line. Build that, and also set the directions of this track. And also to do the rest for the entirety of the main line. Let's see, you're going that way, this way, and that way. This way. Alright. Next is just simply connecting Howard Rest with the main line. And let's see. Yeah, these Indians will move multiple times in a year. So we'll probably just have to wait until they move out of the way themselves before we can try to expand and relay the track through it. It's better than practically spending a lot of money just to move them out. Let's see. Okay. Next is the cattle ranch and the corn farm out near North Platte. We'll probably set up another set of tracks this way. Have that. Place down the gridiron and place down the supply tower. And curve the track to the right out of town, passing the cattle ranch, passing this clay pit, and passing by this corn farm. I'll probably will take out a bond to build some warehouses to store these commodities so they can be picked up and taken to other towns. Let's see. Place the gridiron there, and then curve the track from the cattle ranch to the main line here, and then that should do it for the main line out of Wichita. Now the only thing left is to supply the town of Kansas City with cotton from this cotton farm. We'll just have to carefully move the tracks in this direction out of the city. Finish laying down this section of track. Place down the gridiron, place the surfacing tower, and then just carefully build out. Build out towards the city of Omaha, Nebraska. I'm already so low on funds, I'll have to take out the bond already. We'll connect that, and then extend the line to connect to this cotton farm, and that should do it. Now we got the vast majority of these industries connected, and now it's time to add a little bit more things to these stations, and then we can get started. One is adding a maintenance depot for my trains, as well as a warehouse to store goods. We're going to store logs in here for the time being, so the logs can be picked up on a freight train and taken back to Topeka. And we're going to have another one here to store corn. And now that I think about it, I might as well use it to store grain so I can bring it to Kansas City, as well as bringing the corn. Well, actually, no. We'll have a direct connection from this grain farm to Kansas City and just have a freight train bring in the corn. And of course, we need to have a maintenance depot there. And one maintenance depot here at Topeka. Now then, with that being said, let's see if we can at least afford a train to run the line. Let's see. I want to use the 10-wheeler, but it's too expensive. Although, I can actually trim a bit of the track leading off of the line towards, well, Omaha, and doing the same out of this corn farm. There we go. Now then, let's get started with some traffic. The Baldwin 10-wheeler, you'll be used for handling supplies of farming products. And I've also ran out of cash to buy the second one. Gonna put this to 0 for now so I can use it later. And send this 10-wheeler to make the first delivery for the Santa Fe. The cash bonus has been brought in. Hold on. Add one train for this line. add another one for bringing in logs. Well, not logs. Textile. Well, cotton. We'll get a consolidation for bringing in the logs. We'll get a 10-wheeler to bring in livestock to the meat packing plant. And we'll also bring in some corn into Wichita. Well, with all that being said, we got our pretty good start with our equipment. And now for finding basic supplies. Train reaches 38 miles an hour, that's okay. And the cash is starting to flow in from these bonuses. But with that being said, I think we reached a pretty good ending point for today's episode. So if you had enjoyed this episode of my Let's Play of Railway Empire 2, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Texas Gaming Industries for new video uploads every Friday or Saturday, depending on my on-site schedule. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Excuse me. And I will see you all in the next episode. So until then, so long, partner.